Standard Gains Podcast, Episode 2, Take 1.
Here we go. As of right now, we still have 0 subscribers, viewers, downloads, everything.
Yep.
Because, we recorded these in advance. This is the last episode before we're going live that we recorded this. So we hope you guys have been enjoying the episode so far. If you're here for the first time, then welcome.
Welcome.
Subscribe. And today, we're going to interview Bob. Basically, if you've seen the last episode, we interviewed me as a guest. And right now we're going to talk about your journey.
Like my journey.
Your journey. But first, we start with 3 dilemmas. 3 thriving businesses or 1 really good business, like insanely big.
Okay, so I would advise everyone to have 1 insanely big, good business. That's the best you could do. For me, 3 thriving businesses.
Okay. But we're going to go into the answers in a bit.
Yeah.
Second thing is you can have 1 choice. 10K in crypto or 10K in the S&P 500?
Crypto.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last, 2 audiobooks a month or 1 paperback?
Ooh. 2 audiobooks.
Okay.
That's a tough one, man, but okay, we'll get into them.
Those are the 3 dilemmas.
Yeah.
Now you can explain why 3 businesses and why you recommend people to only actually have 1.
Yeah, so if you look at all successful people, like truly successful people in the world, except for Elon Musk, because he never applies to any of the normal rules, they focus on one thing, they become super good in this one thing, and that's what makes them very, very successful. If you are the best in your field, if you are the person that really knows everything about a certain thing, you can charge such a high price and you can really grow your business. However, I just really enjoyed starting businesses, doing things like this podcast as well. It's so cool to do. So yeah, that might mean I'm not making the maximum amount of money that I could be making, but for me, it's just something I enjoy more.
All right. So
yeah.
Now, second question, 10K in crypto or 10K in the S&P 500?
I'm answering that right now. It's hard. So first of all, if I look at my portfolio, it's very much heavy in terms of ETFs. So that's sort of a personal thing. So I need more crypto.
So the S&P 500, for example, that's a tracker of the 500 biggest companies in America.
It has a little part of the biggest companies and in the States. That's basically what it is.
Really safe investment. Most of the time.
Yeah, it's relatively safe because you don't do stock picking. So you just say, hey, I believe that long term, on average, it goes up 7% a year. So, and that compounds. So it's super interesting long term. However, I feel like at the moment, and it's funny, I actually had a really long discussion about this exact topic yesterday with someone. Right now, crypto is quite high, sure, but on average, people think it's gonna at least double this year, and probably triple or whatever. It might first dip a lot, though.
It might not, but
that's what people think, and I think the stock market is relatively high right now. I think that there's so much going on in the world, like so much, and we're at the all-time highs. So normally, when the stocks start crashing, people in the old days used to go to gold and silver, and now they might go to crypto. So I think I would never put all your money in crypto.
But that's why I asked the question, because if you would normally have 10K right now, you would invest it in...
Right now for me, you mean all I had was 10K?
Yeah, just a 10K.
I would probably split it amongst a few things.
Yeah, if you're being like...
If I would just start, I had 10K, I would probably have definitely a part in trackers, probably more in emerging markets than the S&P 500 right now. They're still a bit behind and there's less issues right now over there. So that, and then definitely some crypto.
Okay, so that's Bob's portfolio.
Well, a bit of real estate, but 10K real estate's a bit difficult.
That's a bit difficult, Okay, and then the last question for audiobooks, or normal paperbacks, I asked that because I know you like your books. I know you like the information, obviously, but also the reading experience.
I really like the reading experience. Fun little fact, I won't go into it too deep. There's blood going to a certain area in your brain. If you actually read a normal book, that is activated only by reading a paperback, and it makes you more productive throughout the day. So it's super cool.
Also a reason why I asked.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's super, super interesting. But
you answered the audiobook.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I read books to get more knowledge and to learn about things. So 2 books would still be more beneficial than 1 book.
Yeah. Okay. So I get that.
Now,
the question of the podcast: what does a standard day look like for you?
I think this is funny because last week I asked you this question and one of the conclusions was you don't really have a routine.
I don't really know.
You don't really have a routine. And for me, my days it's basically one big routine, sort of. So I wake up, I do 4 micro tasks, which means I do 10 push-ups, make the bed, open the blinds, drink water. And the 10 push-ups won't give you a bigger chest, but it does mean that I have now completed 4 tasks in 1 or 2 minutes. And I think you feel productive, you've completed a task, and that's something you take with you.
Do you also really check them off somewhere, or is that just
it's more a mental thing, yeah. Then it is downstairs, make coffee. Very, very important to make coffee.
Important.
I think I sent you a video yesterday. My coffee machine wasn't working, so I ran outside to buy coffee somewhere.
So you stressed a bit, and
yeah. And then it is 30 minutes of reading. It is either 10 minutes of meditation, or lately it's the Wim Hof breathing. I don't do both. I think that takes a bit too much time.
Yeah.
Then it's affirmations. So you know what affirmations are? It's things that you want to be achieving, things that you really want to achieve, but then write them in a sense as if you've already achieved them.
Oh, okay. So it's like sort of...
It's a bit like dream setting. It's a bit like, but dream setting is really like, this is my perfect life, and I'm going to think about what my perfect life is. This is, well, I wouldn't say we have 100,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, because there's not much you can really do about that other than just having a great podcast. But it's certain things you want to be achieving and write them as if you do it. The reason behind it is our unconscious brain or subconscious brain takes 95% of all our decisions. And it makes the decisions based on what your goals are and what you believe. Ooh, okay. And by repeating to yourself that you are a certain thing, or you are, good at public speaking, or you are not afraid of standing in front of a crowd, or you reach something that is important to you, your subconscious brain starts making decisions that will lead towards that goal. Okay. And that's what a lot of people say, the stars are aligning in some weird ways, and then everything seems to be coming toward. No, it's just your subconscious brain being smart.
Okay, so is there any goals or anything that you can share, or is that really like if you share the goals, then it's not?
Oh no, you can definitely share.
Like if you share the goals, it does not work, something like that.
Yeah, if I tell someone that everything goes to shit, no,
yeah,
it works. So one of the things that I currently find very important, which is more of a personal thing, is as you know, I'm single, and I actually write about having like a cool relationship, steady relationship, as that's something that.
All right, yeah.
So that's more of a personal thing. But then write it in a way as if you have that, and it's. Because I've struggled with that in the past, like it's on and off, and it's So for me, it is important to take the decisions, maybe not work as much or start this many businesses, which goes back to your first thing, and just actually make time to have proper dates. And I know this sort of, but by writing it down, having affirmations, I know I will start acting like that more as well.
Okay.
Even though right now dating, for everyone out there, I feel your pain right now with COVID. It's difficult, but that's not the point. So that's part of what I do. Going back to my daily routine.
Yeah. There's always, we noticed this in my daily routine as well. Yeah. This is probably going to happen with a lot of people if we ever have guests, share the podcast. If we ever have guests, then there's always so much interesting in someone's routine.
Yep.
Like this as well. There's so much interesting stuff. Like writing down those things is not something that I think if I say 1% of the world does that, it's probably even too high.
Yeah, probably. And I think it's important. And after the affirmations, I basically do journaling in general. So it's about, this is what will make today great, so some goals for the day. And then in the evening, after that, it's just work. So it's the last thing that I do. Then I start working. First work block, I work in work blocks from 1 hour. After 1 hour work block, I have a 5-minute break or 10-minute break.
What do you do in the breaks?
1 or 2 minutes on my phone, just to check the messages. And then it's either walking or speaking with one of my employees, for example, but about cool things. So actually just...
Not work related, not necessarily.
Scrolling through Instagram is not a break.
No, okay.
Your brain is still active. After the first work block, I turn on my phone. I keep the phone switched off, which is very different from what you do, because I believe that having your phone switched off is just... makes you so much more productive. And
He's calling me out.
Yeah, a bit. But for me, it's not important to know how many messages I have. And then, it's work blocks. Right now, because of the current situation and the curfew we have, I do a workout at roughly 1 or 2 p.m. And then I just work a bit later. Evening routine for me is going back to that, the journaling. So and I will say, hey, this is what could make tomorrow even better. So it's not, this is what went shit today. No, this could make tomorrow even better. Always try and have a positive view on things. And I switch off my phone 1 hour prior to bed. I take a warm shower, as we discussed last week as well, why that's important. And then it's just reading a bit, the journaling, maybe going for a walk, if that's allowed.
So there's quite a lot of journaling as well. And a lot there's a real routine. Like
it's very, very routine. And I think that what you said last week about milk and cookies, having the same thing will make you sleep better. So for me, it's the shower, switching off the phone, reading a bit, drinking some chamomile tea or something.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, your body knows like, hey, it's time to go to bed. So you sleep better.
Okay, so what do you do every single day to get standard gains, to get better?
I mean, I think so many of these things, right? I think the meditation and the reading.
So it's the combination of everything, basically.
Yeah.
So the entire routine, actually.
Yeah, well, the evening routine is just to get good sleep because I think that's so important. But the morning routine is really, the micro tasks to make sure that you are productive. The reading to get more knowledge, the meditation so you're more in the present. And I think all of those things are so important to go to that next level and to really get your goals.
Now, to the topic of today.
Yes.
Big Bob, Don Bob, Mentor Bob. There's a lot of terms there that sound familiar. I made up Big Bob. You made up Big Bob, yeah. Where did Bob start? Where did the journey start of Bob?
So I think we can go back like really, really far away. I grew up, my parents had jobs. We had it fine. We could go take a car, go to France, go, campsite. And so nothing bad there. And then when I was about...
Just regular stuff.
Just regular stuff. And when I was about 8 years old, my parents decided to quit their jobs and start a business.
What business?
It was at that point consulting publishing business agencies in how to deal with floppy drives, floppy disks, and CD-ROM, CDs, how they could publish there rather than just books. And I thought they'd been working in the publishing industry for a while. Basically, what I saw a few things changing. So first of all, I got home and my parents were always there because they were working from home. And when you're 8 or 9 years old, that's still cool. When you're 30, 14, 15 years old, that's not so cool, but that's beside the point. So I thought, oh, that's cool, and there's so much freedom that they have. And because they would stop working and they would just start working again when I would go to bed. And I would know this because just to give you an idea of the time that we were living in, because they would go back on the internet, which meant you had to dial in on ISDN. So I would hear all the bleeps from the phone line because you had to actually use your phone line to go online. That's how long ago this was, sort of.
Okay.
Before you were born. So I thought it was really cool. And then all of a sudden, we went to America with the whole family for the first time ever on a plane. Like, hey, we could go to New York.
Around what age was this?
For around 10. So after 2 years after they started the business, we went to a holiday house in Spain rather than just a campsite in...
That's a bit different, yeah.
It's very different. So I saw on one hand, like, hey, this is cool, the freedom is cool, and there's so much possible. And then also the financial gains were there. Yeah.
But for those who don't know, they're in the US, for example, watching, like going to the US is a big thing.
It's a big thing.
If you're in Europe and going to the US, I think it's vice versa. It's like the other side as well. If you go from the US to Europe, but it is not cheap to go to the US.
So I have a brother and a sister. So we had to buy plane tickets for 5 people.
That's
hotel.
A lot.
That's very expensive.
That's really expensive.
So that's a big difference from just jumping in the car, putting a tent in the car, and go to a campsite, and which is super cool for kids, by the way, because you just go to the pool, you meet other kids. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But just seeing that change, and that made me realize, okay, that's cool. I also want to be doing this. I want to have this freedom. I want to be an entrepreneur. And then basically I started working at a very early age, just helping my parents with whatever I could, making some money. And I think that's also something that they always stimulated, like work. Doesn't matter how much money they were making, you just have to work because that's good for you. And I think that's very important. I know a lot of people with wealthy parents who never work till they're like 24, which I think is not very healthy, but okay. That's an opinion. Let's put it that way. And then when I was, I think 14, we learned a bit of programming in high school, but there wasn't much, right? You didn't have WordPress, you didn't have anything. And I knew something about HTML. A friend of mine, like a classmate of mine, knew quite a bit about HTML. So we said, hey, let's start making websites for local shops. And that was 13, 14 years old, the first ever business it wasn't really business, but the first sort of hustling that we did.
And this was in what year?
1999-ish.
Okay, 1990. That's my year. That's my year. My year.
And again, so it was just opening your notepad and just typing HTML sort of, and websites back then. So from everything had to be flashing and rolling and jumping. And we used Flash. I don't know if you did those websites, but we had no clue. Business-wise, we had like zero clue what we were doing.
As in like how to get the best conversion rates, for example, or not.
Well, there were no ads, so you didn't really. But Oh, well, conversion rates. It wasn't a web shop. You didn't have web shops.
Oh, not at all.
No.
I was talking about like literally the amount of people coming on the website
and buying something. No, you didn't really have web shops. No.
Oh, it was all just leading them to the physical store?
Yep. To really illustrate the point that we had no clue what we were doing, we charged 1,000 guilders for a website, which actually was, dude, my friends were making like 2-3 guilders an hour. Guilders was the thing you had before euros. So we charged, let's say, 500 euros for a website. But friends of mine were making like €1 an hour working in the supermarket. So we were rich, we were making a lot of money. But then we thought we were smart and we wanted to make more money. So we told the guy, because obviously we didn't have, it was cash payment. It was off the books. So we told the owner of the first client we ever had, listen, we forgot to add the 21% VAT sales tax. So you don't have to pay us 1,000, but you have to pay us 1,200. And he just started laughing and he started explaining us like, guys, that's fine. That means that you have to register as a business. You have to actually pay that 21% to the tax authorities. And you have to pay tax, so you'll probably have way less. Are you sure you want to be doing this? So that was the first life lesson we learned about business. You can't just add 21% and think you can put it in your own pocket.
You really? Okay.
Yeah, because we had no clue what we were doing. We just thought it was a nice way to make more money.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we had some jobs here and there. At the same time, I was actually working as a pianist in a restaurant, a background pianist. I did that 3 times a week because it also paid really well.
Musical Bob.
And then when I turned 17, I finished high school quite early. I was 17, finished high school. And I thought, I don't want to go to uni. I really wanted to go away from the Netherlands because I wasn't really happy about everything. And I thought, I'll just go to Spain. Went to the south of Spain and
you really did it. There's a lot of people.
Yeah,
I heard, that's what I hear. A lot of people that are thinking like, I want to go there. I'm not liking. I love the Netherlands, by the way.
I do too now.
No, okay, so but it was different, I guess. You really did it. So you.
Yeah,
what happened? Like,
well, I would recommend everyone, if you're after high school, you can take a gap year. Do it. It's really cool. But for
there's
me,
a stigma on it really big. I mean, a gap year, like, what are you going to do? You're going to waste your time? That's it. Well, that's the instant reaction.
Yeah. I think it depends on what you do, but it's also the time in your life that you have so much freedom to do this, rather than, if you have a job or if you have a family, of course, you can't do it anymore. I remember the night before going, I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I going? And I told my parents, like, I shouldn't be going. I don't know the language. No one speaks English over there. Why am I going? And they were like, just chill. If it's nothing, just come back after a week.
That was your parents saying that?
No, they were saying like, just chill to me.
Yeah.
They said, just go. And if it's nothing, just come, because they knew how much I wanted to have a change of environment. And I
feel like, could that have something to do with them being entrepreneurs themselves?
Probably.
Because that is a mindset I don't hear a lot from parents. When it comes to what you hear and see online, like, my parents are really in the way, not from my experience at all, but you see that a lot. And then
you see it a lot, yeah. And I think it would definitely have helped for them. But they were, they've always been super like, hey, do what you feel is best for you.
That's really cool.
I think so, yeah. So I went there and I remember actually, so I went to Granada, south of Spain. I actually went there to learn Spanish. Partly. So what are you going to do in a gap year? Well, I actually went to a school 4 hours a day of Spanish teaching. So that was the plan. I knocked on the door, someone opened, didn't speak a word of English. I think I have to be here. Even the taxi driver on my way there, I was just pointing out like, I have to go here.
No.
But then 10 minutes later, there was another guy from Germany who had the same issue. We just decided we have to wait 2 hours. Let's grab a beer in the sun because it's 25 degrees. And from that moment on, I loved every second of it. Worked as a pianist in a jazz bar in the south of Spain for a while.
Sounds cool. Was it fun?
It was a lot of fun. Didn't pay as well as in Holland, but hey, everything was cheaper anyways. The business, of course, that we had building websites was, I just told my friend, you just continue if you want, right? Go, because it's, I'm
so
just
you stopped that?
Yeah.
That was that decision, like, that's saying just stop a business.
Well, it wasn't really a bit. It was just.
I know. I get that because it just sort of you started doing it, but I feel like, especially if you did that in 1999 or 98.
Yeah. Well, yeah. By now we're in like 2003, I'd say, but still.
Yeah. But you started that. That is early internet still.
Oh, if we would have continued, we could have probably gotten really, really big with that business.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think it's about priorities. You're 17 years old. You want to party as well. You want to. I think it's different from now. Now there's so many guys, also girls, but mainly guys. 16, 17 years old, and they just really want to be entrepreneur, and it's so different. The whole self-development is so much bigger than it was 15 years ago. It's really, really a big difference. So, yeah, I think that was, for me, it was just, okay, we'll see what I do when I get back. Spent a year in Spain. That friend actually came to visit me for 4 months, and we traveled around Spain the last 4 months of the
Continued
thing.
the business? No.
Nope. We just enjoyed ourselves. Went back home thinking I'll go to uni now. Started uni, dropped out. Next year.
What kind of?
Economics and business.
Economics, okay.
Yeah. And that is the danger of a gap year, by the way. So I spent a year long partying, and I was actually really partying. It was really enjoying my life. And then all of a sudden you come back 2-3 weeks late after coming back, it was like, okay, now I have to go to uni. And the uni was 3 hours a week, I think. There were classes, and the rest you had to do at home. Yeah,
I see where you're going.
You see where I was going.
You're going, yeah.
So that's really it takes a lot of discipline and dedication to actually make that switch if you've had that freedom all of a sudden.
Because I had a gap year as well, and I would have had the discipline, I think, easily, because I want to do something proper, but I wouldn't have the discipline to do it, choose it over everything else I was doing, over YouTube, for example. Yeah. I would spend too much time on building up YouTube or doing what I love, because I was already doing that. So I would say there's a difference there as well. But when you came back, you started with basically nothing.
Yeah, the money I had was mostly gone from the gap year, of course.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll go uni, so that filled. Then I spent that year sort of figuring out what I wanted, worked a bit for my parents, tried some other things myself, went back to uni, dropped out political science this time, because I thought, actually in high school I was in the European Youth Parliament. So I thought, hey, that's cool, I'll do this. But I just like debating, I like speaking, I like, this kind of thing, podcast. I enjoy speaking a lot. So, but dude, I didn't really like the people who studied political science.
Okay.
But we don't have to go too much in there, maybe. It wasn't my thing. So dropped out, and then I thought, okay, it's time to sort of make a decision. And that's when I started a new business, or actually joined a friend who started the business. He was making an app. And keep in mind, we're now in the point that we were the first season of Holland's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent.
So you really see the IT.
It's always been there.
Yeah. Even
it's
though,
always been IT.
Like business and economics, that would still complement that. But political side, not so much. No. It's completely different, actually. This was around what year?
2008.
2008 with the Holland's Got Talent, what you just said.
A friend of mine was making an app, and it was called Behind the Front Door. And the plan about Behind the Front Door was, it's sort of a talent show app. And you can upload a video of yourself or a photo, and it's in a certain category. So you could say, I am a singer. And we were one of the first apps ever to actually have location integrated with an app.
Oh.
So you could see who's the best singer of Amsterdam, who's the best singer of London. And the best would mean people could watch it, they could like it, and we wrote our own algorithm that would then rank you depending on
that is really
those
cool.
things.
This is really cool.
I think it was, and I still think we could have been super successful with this idea. We spent a year and a half full-time working on it. But the issue is, then we launched it. Well, there's two main things that we screwed up, and that's also where I learned a lot. So first of all, we made so many features in that app that people who started using it weren't really sure what to do. There was so much out there. So what I learned there is, rather than me knowing what people want, it is actually, speak to people. What do they actually need? And then start building it. So that was one of the things. And second of all, you didn't have any Facebook ads or anything. So how were we going to attract new people to use our app? And the feedback that we had were, some people were saying, oh, I'd love to upload, but no one's watching, so why should I upload? And other people said, well, no one's uploading, so why should I be watching? And we were just launching, and the friend of mine who built most of it, because I can't really code myself that well, he was, also out of money. And then he got a really good job opportunity. So 3 weeks after launching, he said, yeah, I'm going to quit. I'm just going to go to that job. And then 1.5 year of work was
So in
gone.
the meantime of that 1.5 year, you were full time?
Mostly. I was working a bit on the side, like trying to make some money on the side. But it was really, that was pretty much just, the whole story there, basically. And we tried it, and it failed. So it was time to figure out what to do and to actually, build a business that would be successful, rather than building something that had I think both those businesses had a lot of potential, but they both didn't work out because one, I just quit really fast with the first one, which I'm still happy that I did. And the second one, we just didn't think it through properly and didn't have a marketing budget. We didn't have anything.
Were there any downloads?
100.
100.
100-ish. We were super excited. The first day, there were like 3 girls who uploaded themselves singing. They were really shit, but that didn't really matter. As I have a music background, I created some videos where I was playing piano and
sense.
singing and like uploading. And then, so we were super hyped, but then after like 2 or 3 days, the download stopped. And I think, we just should have pushed through. Great example is Instagram. Instagram actually had 8 versions before. The 8th version is the one that took off. The first 7 versions of Instagram you've never seen or used because no one was using it. They kept changing things. They kept basically looking at, okay, why is it not working?
When did Instagram start?
Oh, I can't. I'm
like
not sure.
That's been a period of years then.
Oh, years. Yeah. And I think the main, if I remember this correctly, but I might be wrong, the main thing that they started adding were the filters for photos.
That worked.
And then for some reason that sort of, because people had your phones weren't that great yet with taking photos. So that was really like a next step to going to, and then, then it started working and then it took off. So we should have done the same. We had this technology, we had this app. There were also a lot of other ideas we could do with the same technology. But we just didn't. And then also because the other guy just got this really amazing job opportunity, making a lot of money. And he thought, okay, well, I either do this or with the app that is not really working. It's just shit that actually happened like, I think a week after we launched the app.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, that's sort of how that all happened. And then...
So a lot of learning there.
A lot of learning.
And then the next step.
A lot of learning. The next step was working and looking at what do people actually want in terms of products. And I think that is the main change that started making me successful. So as I said, rather than building what we thought people needed, actually building something that people need. With that friend I first started my business with, I spoke with my parents, like, hey, we want to buy your business, because we thought he was actually working for my parents.
You want to buy your parents' business? All right.
That was the next step. Yeah, at that point, because we saw
what age?
Must be like 24, 5?
24, 5. So there was a few years in between.
Well, it was, so the 20, it's really hard.
So around that, but that's a big step, I would say.
It's a big step. He was actually working for my parents because he's a really good, really good developer. And he was working there. We actually spoke about it. We actually both got advisors because my parents were, hey, if we came up with the right price, then why not? So I would start doing all the marketing was the plan and make sure that we really get a lot of new clients. And he would be the main developer. They have more developers as well, or sort of developers at the time. It didn't work out at the time, just price-wise, what we were willing to offer and what they wanted to get was different. Also, keep in mind, this is 11 years ago, roughly, I think. The timeline is a bit blurry, I'd say.
Yeah.
Financial crisis time.
Oh, yeah.
So
2008.
Yeah, around the time. So businesses were doing like this. So, of course, we were evaluating businesses like, hey, everything's going down. But yeah, my parents were making, it was running well. So the price that we would pay would not make sense to my parents because if they would continue 1 or 2 years, they'd make more. So
you guys really saw sort of the online version of it, or
the online, and they were making that transition already. But yeah, we really saw a good opportunity there with some big clients. Didn't work, meant that my friend actually quit there, the business.
Oh, he quit?
Yeah, partly because of that, plus he got a really good job opportunity somewhere else. I would try to tell him, hey, let's start this business together then, and of course not compete with my parents, but in a different niche.
That would have been a completely different story.
That would be a very different story. Didn't really work. So, hey, all good, right?
Yeah.
I kept working for my parents to actually start making some money, and then doing new projects on the side. So building a new little web development business as well on the side, and that was doing pretty well.
Where did you learn coding?
Online.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But one of the things I always do is I find people who are much better at this than me.
Yeah, I know that. You're really good at that. Outsourcing, but properly, it's...
Properly outsourcing.
Yes.
It was doing well, and I'm just going to flash forward, because it kept going, business was growing, was doing well, and then came to the point that my mother said, I want to retire. So now, all of a sudden, it was, hey, I'm actually making a bit of money, I'll buy your business right now. My father was 59 at the time, and I said, you're both going to retire. We made a deal, so I then merged my business with their business, we had this, and then I actually bought it.
Oh, for real?
For real. And then, I tried to get my friend back on board, but he said, well, it would be weird if we try to buy it together and then now you're my boss. And I thought it would be not fair to my parents if I then would give him part of the business or anything. So that didn't work. Took the business and we really, really grew quite rapidly afterwards.
Were your parents still involved?
No.
It
was really like the December 31st, they said goodbye and then that's it. So
end of the year?
End of the year. And they also told me, because there were employees, of course, like, hey, it would be weird if we would still be around for them. They have to know you're the new boss. You're the one who does this. And we were growing quite rapidly. I thought, hey, it's time to expand to other countries as well. And this is where we're going to go towards more of the mentorship part is going to come here.
I know you have a company right now. Is that the same company?
Yeah, it is. So we merged into my parents' company because I thought their name was much cooler, and it existed since 1993, which we can say we're basically the oldest web development agency in Holland, sort of. So that's like a cool thing to say. And then just fast forward, so that we doubled the revenue in like the first 2 or 3 years after merging. So that was really well. It was going really well. And then I thought, okay, let's go to the UK. I managed to get an appointment with a law firm in the UK because we were doing some work for law firms. And I was also just starting to build a bit of an Instagram page. Went to London for that meeting and I thought I want to switch more towards a business page. And it would be super cool to have some content in London. So I started doing some research and there was this little kid called Iman and he was making videos. And I watched some of his videos and I thought, wow, that's really cool. He's also busy with like entrepreneurship and he's trying to build a business, super cool. Sent him a DM and he told me that he would charge £100 for a full day of filming and editing photos.
Okay.
Pretty good deal.
That's a good deal, yeah.
That's a pretty good deal.
Right now with that, if the quality is good. I mean,
the quality was really good.
It's always about the quality.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, I think he definitely improved over the years, as everyone does. Even though I think this is like 5 years ago, I think looking back at videos people made 5 years ago, obviously the cameras have gone better, but also people started using less contrast and less, like, it was over-edited, a lot of those back in the day.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so went there, first day, he kind of screwed up. Camera battery was dead after 20 minutes. We sort of hit a workout then and sort of chilled a bit, spoke a bit, but...
And you had to pay eventually?
Well, he said, you know what, let's do it again tomorrow. We'll fix it tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow. I went to my meeting. Meeting was really funny. I thought the meeting went super good. I thought, this is a big new client. They're so happy. And then afterwards, I never heard back from them. Oh. Even if I tried. What I learned there is British people are so afraid of insulting someone or saying something that might hurt someone else. Yeah, so in Holland, people just say, sorry, not interested, go away.
Yeah.
Over there, it's super polite. Oh, very interesting. Yeah, send me in. Definitely, we'll look into it. Yeah, sounds super interesting. And then they just ignore you because that's easier than saying no. Something I learned.
Not sure if that is. We should nuance that a little bit. If that's everywhere in the UK.
No, of course.
I do know we are known for being direct.
Yeah.
In the Netherlands. So that's a big difference there. So that's a good learning.
So next day, supposed to meet Iman at 10. He showed up at 12 because it was. I can say this because he spoke about this in his YouTube because he was taking drugs the night before. And I basically told him, hey, listen, because we spoke the first day a bit about, hey, let's see if we can start a business or I can help you start a business later on. I said, hey, listen, I don't think, make the videos, make the photos. I will never see you again. That's it because, you're wasting my time. Which is, and I think as we...
You said that...
To Iman, like on that Sunday, we were there, we were like creating some content. And I think it's cool here because of everything that happened afterwards. And he actually had a really good response, like, oh, I'm really sorry. It's like, and he told a bit of a personal story. And okay, you know what? We'll stay in touch. We'll see what we can do in the next couple of months. And it really became into him asking me questions about business. And that started with sending me a text message every other day.
And this is what everyone does that Bob... that meets Bob, basically. You get a lot of questions from everyone. I know the guy in blue shirt, Aryan, he was here as well. Instantly, like, hooked on Bob. Oh, hooked on Bob. Hooked on Boop. Big Bob. There you go. But just hooked. Like, they want to ask you so many questions. They're so interested in everything. And what's that like?
I think it's cool because I enjoyed those type of conversations so much more than...
I really see that because I ask you quite a lot of questions as well.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. So, and that turned into a moment where Iman was calling me 4, 5, 6 times a day at some point.
From a few times a week to...
the whole time he was starting his digital marketing agency and he was trying to create a course. I said, you know what? Come to Leiden. I'll actually introduce you to... I think my strong point is that I have a pretty decent network. I'll introduce you to some people, and we got a job for Bang & Olufsen here because I invited him for a twin spark racing, which builds Porsches 911. You give your Porsche 911 plus at least $500,000.
Because what does his business do?
Well, at that point, it was creating videos and growing social media.
Okay.
So we got some cool clients here. He launched his first course, and then his business started growing. And he said, well, Bob, you never ask something in return. I'll give you 10% of my business, which is really cool because I actually did it because I enjoyed it so much. And I was also learning. Keep in mind, we spoke about how, there's an age difference here. But still, it is so cool. You can learn so much from new generations. I was learning so much about marketing and social media that I was then using to grow my own business. So it was beneficial for me as well. But he actually gave me 10% of the business.
And did you accepted that, obviously, I guess?
I accepted it.
Yeah,
yes.
That makes sense.
But I was also providing him with quite some clients at the time.
Yeah, I get it.
I think it was a good deal. But as time grew, I mean, he's a pretty smart kid. He knows what he's doing, and he knew quite a bit more than me quite fast about how to grow his business because
more
it was such a new type of business, and he was just spending every dollar that he made back into learning from anyone he could find who was successful. So at some point I was asking him more questions, he was asking me, which is kind of funny. And then we said, hey, it's not really fair to keep this 10% from me because all you have to do is wire me money, and I'm not really doing anything. So we made a deal where he basically bought back the shares, and then as a thank you, he also bought me kind of nice watch.
So we're talking about like his business was already doing really well.
It was going better and better and better. So he bought that, he bought the watch, and we sort of business-wise split up. But I think partly because of the way that we said, hey, it's just not fair anymore. Let's just stop this. We're really good friends till this day. When we first were thinking of a topic about this podcast, we were saying like, hey, maybe about how I kind of became a mentor in an industry without me expecting it or wanting it.
Yeah. How did you become Don Bob?
And that's basically what happened here. So Iman started posting on his social media a lot about me and how I was his mentor and how I helped him to go from 0 to 10K a month.
And people saw him grow as well.
And he was really growing, and his social media were growing. So my Instagram just kept growing, and my DMs were flooded with people, hey, can I hire you as a coach, as a business coach, as a mentor? And in the beginning, I actually even did it sort of for free, where I said I want to have a revenue share. So whenever we get a client while we work together, because I wasn't comfortable yet with teaching in this digital marketing thing at that point. Then I started charging 75 euros an hour, and then I started charging 100, 150, 200 to, at some point I felt, okay, if you want to have 4 calls a month with me, you're going to pay me 2,000 euros. So that sort of grew.
And you built that as your business, basically.
It became a business, and quite fast.
With the other business on the side.
With the other business on the side,
You do not need to forget that.
The other business was still growing as well. But the good thing is that I really, at this point, the software that we're making, I can't write one single line of code good enough to go into our software. And I said that's a good thing.
There you go to the outsourcing again.
The outsourcing, yeah. But I think the good thing there is that I cannot work, they always say you should be working on your business, not in your business. I can't even work in my business because I can't do what we do. So all I can do is spend my time finding people, finding clients, improving our services, improving the systems and the structure that we need. And that's the way that I grew my business. Okay. And on the side, I was doing the coaching. Then I thought coaching isn't scalable, right? You're trading your time for money.
Yeah.
And sure, you can make a lot of money doing coaching if you charge enough money. But I thought, well, I could make it more scalable by creating a Facebook group. So I created a Facebook group for $75 per month. And in return, I would go live on Sunday for 1 hour and ask any question. Or I would prepare a topic like, hey, we're going to talk about sales today.
So basically an online mastermind.
Sort of an online mastermind, yeah. And after a month, I had 100 people in there. So it was 7.5K per month for 1 hour a week. So that was almost a 6-figure business.
That is a lot more scalable indeed.
It is a lot more scalable. And I did it for about a year. the only thing I noticed, the only night that people wanted me to do this was Sunday evening. And Sunday is the day that I think it's super important to have one rest day. So Sunday was rest. And it's so inconvenient to Sunday, 8 p.m. Parents ask, hey, come over for dinner. No, sorry. Friends ask, come over for dinner. No, sorry.
Yeah, that's because I want to say, can you not change your rest day? But it's just an automatic rest day because a lot of people around you that either are your parents or friends. They just that Sunday is Sunday.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Plus, if you have employees, I like being in the office. So Monday to Friday, I'd be in the office. Saturday was football. Also, still doing football at the time. So, and at the same time, I was wondering why I was still single.
This
is the thing. Come back to the
sounds like a lot of like there was no time basically.
No, there was
only
really
Sunday.
no spare. Yeah. One of the annoying things here was people would join the Facebook group, would start asking questions, but people who were in there for half a year said, we already discussed that like 3 times, go away. So then I thought I'd have to make different groups for starters, but that's just too much hassle. So quit that. But so from helping Iman and from him calling me, people started to actually reach out to me, start calling me Don Bob. That's where that came from, because I was like, he built like a really, really hardcore community. Like Iman has a really hardcore community when it comes to digital marketing. He has, I think, the biggest course out there as well. And they were really seeing me as like the mentor of the mentor of Iman.
Makes sense.
Yeah, even though I never really ran a Facebook ad in my life. So whenever someone asked me for coaching, I'd say, well, I can help you structure your business. I can help you grow your business and help you with the mindset and productivity. But I can't help you to build a proper funnel.
Iman scaled his business to a Facebook ads SMA, because that's
exactly. That's what
he started with this is not the video editing
not at all.
business at all anymore. So his switch was because he saw probably that there was a big market.
Well, one of the things that we saw is that videography is really cool, but there's no return on investment for the client, or not a visible return on investment. If I would hire you as videographer and you would pay me, or I would pay you €1,000 a month to make really cool content that I put on my socials, how much is that bringing me? I don't know. It's not measurable, right? So what we saw in return is that clients would stay 1 to maybe 3 months. Then they said, guys, sorry, but we don't really know if this is worth it. We also realized that as soon as a recession would come, the first thing you're going to kick out is a content creator, because you can't see the return on investment. But if you do run Facebook ads, I now pay you €1,000 a month, but I see 5 or 6 or 7,000 coming back every single month.
Yes.
You're making me money.
So that's the Facebook ad story.
That's the Facebook. So that's why we made the switch.
And this was one case study of yours, basically. Iman, there are also different people. We briefly talked about those in the first episode, I think. Those are really interesting as well. One really good with Photoshop, works with Photoshop now. You mentored him as well. But the fun thing is, like you said, you mentored someone that has the biggest course in SMA and Facebook ads, basically. But you do not do Facebook ads yourself.
No,
same applies to that guy. Photoshop. You have no clue how this guy started a YouTube channel, and he's asking someone else to outsourcing again to make the thumbnails. Even though like this is something you could probably do yourself, but why not?
Why not pay someone $5 rather than me learning it and spending a lot of time?
Exactly.
On it?
So, but it's really interesting to see that you are helping people. I think it shows exactly what I would like to show right now, like the mentor of Bob. Because you help people. But it doesn't matter with what type of business.
Yeah, it's really funny. So, of course, because of Iman, I had a lot of students who were in digital marketing. Then I started coaching Julius, Visuals of Julius, the one you referred to, Photoshop guy. His issue was he was making a lot of money, and he had 400K on Instagram. He was taking over the Photoshop account.
His issue was making a lot of money?
No, his issue was working 20 hours a day. So I said, hey, I don't work that much because I can't do what I do. Let's fix this. So we really changed he started hiring people. He started outsourcing things. He makes 4 times more money than he did back then. And he works for 3-4 hours a day. And then all of a sudden, I started getting a lot of people who were in the creative industry to ask if I could coach them. Right now I have like 2 guys I help who do, sellonbull.com, so basically on Amazon FBA. And I have 3 who have a software business. So this is the first time I'm coaching people doing the thing that I've actually done myself.
And what I find interesting is that it's just every single case study that you look at, there's so much growth there. It's just it's so interesting to see that. I get where the name Don Bob's comes from, and that's why I'm really interested to see where, what people are thinking of this podcast right now, or what they're listening to. That there's so many things. I think we just created a better Facebook group.
That's what we hope. Yeah,
that's what I hope.
But and I think sort of to end it off, the reason why I can do this is because business is not some weird ass thing. Business makes sense, and it doesn't matter what kind of business you run. There's certain principles that you have to follow and certain things that you have to do to become successful. And it doesn't matter if it is digital marketing, if it's software development, if it's there's always nuances and little differences. But I always tell people, I'm not going to help you do the thing that you do, but I'm going to help you structure the business, grow the business, and to have the proper mindset. And that's sort of what we started with in the beginning of the first podcast. Business isn't always fun. Business doesn't go up in a straight line. Business isn't you start, you win. It's ups and downs.
Yeah.
And that's why whenever I try and help people, it's really figuring out why you're doing this and how can we make sure it's sustainable for a long time rather than just going for a quick little win.
There's a really realistic view on entrepreneurship
so.
And everything. And what I like about the entrepreneurship niche that's grown right now, there's a lot of things to dislike, but there's a lot of things to like, especially the growth in self-bettering. That is just exponential because of that as well. So really looking into what you said, like dream setting, Wim Hof method, stuff like that. Reading, there's a really big spike there as well. So that's really interesting. And
I think it's very good that we're going towards that right now. I think that for a very long, one of the reasons why I also wanted to start my page was I was so annoyed by the people just claiming you could be successful in overnight, and all you have to do was buy their course or their coaching. And that's why I thought I'm not going to charge money for my coaching until I know I can get you results. And again, I think that is the mindset you need to be sustainable. That's why I've been able to do it for 5, 6, 7 years. And I have way more people who ask me to do coaching than I have time for, because I do it only because I know I can get them long-term results. And that in return gives you long-term results. And that's the way you should always build your business, I think. If you look at me now, it seems like I'm so structured. I have this morning routine. I have everything is cleaned in my house, and I have all these systems and structures in my business. I am one of the most chaotic people you will ever meet in your life. And I am really, really... And so I noticed...
In what way?
Oh, if I don't create systems and structure, my whole house seems like it's exploded.
But if you do?
Well, I have to. I've noticed for myself, and that's why I think I saw the value of this. I noticed really, really early on that if I don't structure my days and if I don't structure my business, I'm going to do 5 minutes of this and then 10 minutes of that. And then I do what, I'm being lived by the day. I'm being lived by basically, what people just email me or text me. And by creating so much structure in my day, I can actually do what's important. And that's really funny. And whenever I let go of that structure, I go back to the weird ass chaos Bob that I shouldn't be. So for me, that's one of the struggles. But it's a fun little struggle.
Okay, so that's a cool add-on there.
I think so.
The structured Bob can
Nothing
also
is
be
as
not...
it seems on social media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, question.
Yep.
Because you're doing fine. You're doing you still have the business you started or you bought from your parents. Your help, it's a really cool story actually. But your students, most of them are making more than you are, if I'm correct.
Well, there's definitely quite a few who are making more than I am. I actually spoke to a guy this week. I hadn't spoken to him for like 2 years. He went to my first Mastermind. It was my Facebook group. I did some coaching with him, and he told me he had his first ever 7-figure month.
7-figure month?
Yes.
Month.
There's a lot of people I've coached who well, I think profit like 50%.
Pooh.
There's a lot of people I've coached who do multiple 6 figures a month, also profit-wise. I can't complain. I invest in real estate. I have holiday rentals. I'm not complaining at all. But I think that's really cool.
I think that's really cool. And do they still, as a student, think about you? If I'm not like, I'm going to give this guy a little bit of money. No, I'm thinking about like really looking back, staying a little bit down to earth with where they're coming from.
I think most of them. So I know Iman and Julius sometimes still mention me like, hey, it's cool, and look at Bob. This guy actually sent me a message, hey, I'd love to grab dinner with you. I'll invite you for a cool dinner because it's been long and I really feel like you've helped me. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah. And a lot of guys just check in with me. I say guys because there's way too little women, if you're a woman, go build a business, find a mentor. Could be a woman.
I find it
but
interesting.
there's so many guys, and that
Have you ever worked with it?
I've had 2 female students.
With a female, yeah.
And I've had in the Facebook group there were a bit more, but like one-on-one.
Because
they
are out there. There are insane businesses built by women as well.
But maybe they're looking for more of a female coach as well, which could be
probably as well. But in the Facebook group, everyone wants to learn, and when they have the opportunity, like Iman, in the Facebook group, in your Facebook group, people would want to go into there. So. Females want to do that as well. Maybe they're not as prominent in like.
I think it was like 80% male, 20% female in the Facebook group.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the only time that was a bit different, I think, with Julius, we once did a workshop, but it was creative workshop more. No, we're also more. Yeah, no. So it's. But I wish it would be more sort of.
I mean, 50-50 or it could be interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a big potential there for women, yeah.
But going back to that sort of question, like I know some people hate it when their students are making more than them or whatever, but I just think it's super cool because, hey, if I would feel bad about it, I should just change it myself because that would mean I wouldn't feel happy about the things that I'm achieving. And I just think it's super nice to see people succeed if you're helping them.
Yeah, because I'm interested in, you see all these businesses being built and you know how they're built.
Yep.
Is there not something that sparks and you say, let's add that to this on the side as well? I want to do that as well.
I'd be lying if I say that, especially in the beginning, I wouldn't feel like shit. Like I have to push harder because they're making more than me, or maybe I should be doing
making
this.
the same business. Like,
also, but at the same time, remember how we said the way to become the most successful is by having one thing and focusing on that. So by me starting all those other side businesses won't get me the results that they're getting because they're focusing on this one thing. And at the same time, I make a choice of running. I currently have 4 businesses. I make that choice, and I know that's going to mean I'm not going to be, yes, again, it's doing really well and I have nothing to complain, but it's not going to do the same as one all in, grow it as big as possible. No. But I just like building new businesses and the starting phase and growing phase is much more fun.
It's really fun. Yeah, that's really fun. Yeah. I think that's also more interesting than, I think it comes down to maybe simple analytics. When you look at really to numbers like analytics, everything is doing as normal. But when you go into the starting phase, then you really see like a spike and down spike. Is it going up again or not? Yeah. And really that process of improving stuff and then seeing results. And now you with the channel that I have, if I go to YouTube right now, then I started a new channel. I mean, it's linked to the other channel, so it started with a boost, obviously. But you see really big spikes, ups and downs. You see because it's a different type of content. You see what works and what not. So that's really interesting. I find that one of the most the fun stuff. Like, this is working and this is completely not working, even though I thought it would be working. Or this is working on my other channel. Why is it not working here? So that's really fun.
Same with businesses.
Yeah, same thing. So that's 100%. Okay. So that's pretty cool. But what is your superpower?
My superpower is connecting people.
I know.
Yeah, it's. I was with a couple of friends last Friday, and at some point I started laughing because whenever they had a question or something, I said, "Oh, I actually know someone who could help you with this." And I think I said that about 12 times, and they needed to get a van to move the next day, and they didn't. It was hard; they couldn't find a van anymore. So I said, "Oh, wait, I know a few guys who have like courier businesses. I'll just give them a ring and to make sure that you have."
That is so cool. That is definitely 100% a superpower, and actually.
Yeah. And you can make money off of it because a lot of people come to me, hey...
Oh, this is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so last month I made 5,000 euros by just connecting businesses with people who can run ads for them.
Exactly,
and I just
that's
ask a little
super
fee.
Interesting. Yeah, you get... I would say Bob is like a guy with a really fair fee. It is just like, oh, you know what? I know a guy in... an example would be, for example, Facebook ads.
Yeah.
If you link my business, my workout business to a Facebook guy and you really like, he's really good.
Yep.
Then you say, to that guy, hey, I have a client for you. I can link you, and I just want 10% from the monthly fee or something like that, or whatever.
That's normally what I ask. Or there's some people who I have different deals with. They pay me 50% of the first month.
Yeah, 50% of the first month, and then after that, never again. So that's just a one-time fee. And then
10% is more interesting because it's just recurring and it's the best business model. But
I would say that as well. But I think that's a really because you're really making. I don't want to say creating jobs, or would you just? It's so interesting because it's a real superpower that could even be more powerful than just knowing a lot of stuff yourself.
Oh yeah, but I honestly mean this when I say that in business there's not a lot of things that I can do myself. I mean, I can think about concepts and create structures and systems, but I've never really had a business where I was good at what we did.
Except for the mentoring.
The mentoring, yeah.
And then the superpower.
Yeah, but it's just connecting people. And I know a lot of people say networking is not worth your time. For a lot of people, it's probably not. I've spent a long time being a football coach and in a club where there were a lot of parents who were entrepreneurs. I've been the sort of tournament director of one of the biggest tennis tournaments in our country, where we had a lot of big sponsors coming to meet us. So through all of those things, my network grew so big, and now through social media, that I just know, so many people, and then you can just link them and get a little fee. That's good.
Okay. This is the journey of Big Bob. No, I'm gonna stop.
We have to stop this.
I'm gonna stop that. But Bob Van Boo, actually. That is his real name, because we haven't spoken about that.
I don't think I've ever mentioned it yet in the podcast.
Bob Van Boo. Bob Van Boo.
Exactly.
Bob Van Boo. Like, there's a difference between a Dutch pronunciation and the English one. So Bob Van Boo.
Just like Stan and Stan.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But
okay, that's probably enough.
Just a side note. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. And
you're such a great host.
You're so good at interviewing people, man. Everything's in the show notes.
Yeah, description. Check it out. And Discord. We got Discord.
Discord.
You can link that. You can check that out. You can follow there if you want to go.
Yeah, we're there. You can speak with us.
And actually, we can make some extra content there as well.
We should.
So we're gonna make some extra content for Discord right now. Go check it out.
See you next week.
Smash the link. Subscribe. Hit bell.